This is Module 5, Understanding My Community. My community is Charlevoix, Michigan, and Charlevoix Public Schools. The demographics of our city or our town, we have 26,000 residents year-round. We have a lot of seasonal residents. We are a huge tourist community. We had a just very, very minimal growth in population last year, and our housing market is not the greatest right now, so we don't have a lot of people moving to Charlevoix. Diversity, we have 95.4% white population, 2.1% Hispanic, 1.6% American Indian, and that makes up the majority of our community, with a few races here and there below that 1% mark. Primarily white community. The language that 96% of our residents speak is English. Not a whole lot of diversity in our community. Looking at our sociological inventory, we have a 10.6% poverty rate of our population. The average income is $53,000 with the average housing cost $162,000. This might explain the lack of growth in our population. Our housing cost continues to rise while our average income continues to decline. We have one elementary school and one middle high school with a total of 953 students. The common ideas and habits of our community: we are a beautiful community surrounded by lakes. We have 3 lakes touching our little town. We have Lake Michigan, Lake Charlevoix, and Walloon and Torch Lake, which are combined. So a lot of our residents' primary activities are outdoors: boating, hiking, skiing in the winter, snowshoeing. We have the best of all 4 seasons, so we do have a beautiful community that we live in. Our community is very supportive of our athletic program in our school and just our school functions and activities. Even our academic teams and events, our school is supportive of, or our community is supportive of within our school. Our motto of our town is Charlevoix the Beautiful, and we have a lot of residents who value that and do a lot of community pickups. We have annual petunia planting, and our entire street, like the entire main street of our town for 3 miles is lined with petunias, and we have a petunia planting day. The whole community gets together and we plant petunias, and it makes our town look so beautiful. So a lot of us like to keep that motto alive and keeping Charlevoix the Beautiful. We also have an annual festival, and it's the Charlevoix Venetian Festival. It's huge. It's a week-long festival, which at the end, the conclusion is Saturday night, huge fireworks and boat parade. It brings in thousands and 10,000s of people. It's just the busiest time for our community and a great time for our businesses. We are divided by wealth in our community and your socio and economic status. We have a lot of high-end residents, high socioeconomic status residents that come here. We also divide by the locals and what we call the fudgies. If you're a fudgy, you're a tourist, you're coming from out of town. That name comes from people coming to get our Murdoch's fudge that we are famous for. And if you are a fudgy, you are not from Charlevoix. So that often divides the community. We have 10 plus churches within our community, and we are continuing to evolve and modernize our downtown Charlevoix with new projects and new enhancements to our downtown area. 93.6% of our residents are high school graduates with at least high school graduates, and 31% have at least a bachelor's degree. We have about a quarter of our population that is 65 or older, and 18.9% is under 18. Small amount of children, 4.2% is under 5. We are seeing a decline in our student enrollment numbers as well, which is sad. 50% of the residents in Charlevoix are 50.5 are female, so we're really right down the middle with the population, male and female. A lot of our residents are healthcare workers. We have some pretty big hospitals in the towns surrounding us, as well as our own hospital here in Charlevoix. We have a lot of manufacturers in our community. We have a cement plant. We have a lot of landscaping companies that stay busy year round with summer landscaping, and then in the winter they are removing snow removal because we've got ton of snow. The average commute for our residents is 19.9 minutes, so about a 20-minute commute. We are within 30 miles in each direction of a larger community, a larger city. So a lot of people are commuting to those cities for their jobs. Our main communication is social media. In Charlevoix, social media is huge. We have Facebook page for our city, for our chamber. We have what's happening in Charlevoix Facebook pages. That is really how our community stays connected. And with us having so many residents that are not year-round, that are seasonal residents, a lot of people like the social media aspect because they can find out what's going in Charlevoix even if they are a snowbird and they're down in south for our winters. They can still kind of see what's happening. We do have a local newspaper, the Charlevoix Courier. We have some local news channels, and we don't have a lot of foreign language options that I'm aware of. I'm sure they're available. I do know that our newspaper is available, and all of our online news sources are available in a different language, but they're just maybe not well advertised. Again, that could be because we have primarily English-speaking residents. So our community groups, we have a downtown development committee, which is that group that helps modernize our town and bring new projects and enhancement to our city. And we have some high school downtown development interns, which every semester they choose a community project to get funded and pitch to the downtown development committee and do something to enhance our community. This past year it was painting a mural on the side of one of our large downtown buildings to add some fun art and culture to our little town. We have just your regular Lions, Elks, Kiwanis clubs. We do have the Charlevoix Area Garden Club, which is they're very proud of everything that they do. We have a beautiful community of gardens, and it's super fun to take that garden tour because of all the work that the garden club does. We have a Charlevoix Circle of Arts Council, a Zonta group, Rotary Club, the Venetian Festival Committee, lots of church groups, and our Charlevoix Recreational Department, which is in charge of all of the parks and the playgrounds and all of the recreational events that we have that we offer in Charlevoix. Our leadership includes our city council, which is the main leadership group in our community. We have a city manager, our mayor. We have a very involved superintendent of schools. Our school administrators are also involved, the Board of Education. We also have Leadership Charlevoix, which is a group for young adults to thrive in leadership development, and that includes like getting them involved with the Better Business Bureau to how can future leaders help with building businesses in Charlevoix, and they connect with those business owners to kind of share ideas and feedback. A lot of our characteristics of our community leaders, they're very collaborative. I've never been aware of a situation where it was a situation that did not involve multiple parties and multiple inputs. We have a lot of residents in Charlevoix who like to keep things the same, who are not very modernized, who don't like the idea of evolving or changing things. There was a big issue of putting a community fire pit, not even like a pit, but like a beautiful like fire structure down in one of our parks so that people could enjoy the parks in the evening when it got cold. And that was a big project, and there was a lot of input and a lot of feedback. And in the end, a group of our residents who have been around in Charlevoix for a very long time were the ones that ultimately ended up stopping that project, so it didn't happen. So for the most part, our community is very collaborative. We have that shared vision of keeping Charlevoix beautiful and bringing people in. We want people to continue visiting our community because it really helps our economy thrive. Our community leaders are very respectful of the locals and the input. We we have 3 months during the year where our population quadruples, and that's June, July, and August. And we can't base all of our decisions just to have the economy thriving for those 3 months. So our leaders are very good about respecting the locals' input on any sort of decision or situation. We have established and follow guidelines and expectations of any community member and any city council member, as well as like Board of Education and anybody involved in those. They have that shared vision. We are economically driven community because we only have those 3 months where a lot of businesses can only open for those 3 months, and they are depending on those. So a lot of our decisions are based around what's going to bring money into Charlevoix. We do like to continue our traditions, but also evolve and modernize with the times. And we have mostly peaceful problem solving. I've never heard of an issue or a situation where a problem or a disagreement was handled not peacefully. We do have a lot of seasonal businesses, a lot of seasonal residents, and a lot of seasonal activities and attractions. We can only utilize our lakes for probably 5 or 6 months out of the year, depending on the activity you're doing. We can only utilize our ski hill for 3 or 4 months out of the year. A lot of our recreational opportunities are limited because of our seasons and because of the weather. Businesses we have a lot of turnover in businesses because they can't afford the rent downtown for only making the majority of their income during June, July, and August. So that's tough for business owners in Charlevoix. We do have 786 businesses and establishments in our town, with about 8,317 people employed within those businesses, which is great. We have 271 farms, with 59% of them being crop sale farms and 41% being livestock sales. So we do have some agriculture to add to our local economy. So our political structure, that is has been in the top of everybody's what's happening lately is our 2020 bond proposal, and we just passed for the school bond proposal of a $4 million bond, and this would go toward updates and renovations to our buildings, technology, athletic equipment, and getting our school some new buses. We do have a lot of funding issues because of that seasonal turnover. We don't have a lot of people moving into Charlevoix. We have high housing costs and low average incomes, so we don't have a lot of students enrolling in the Charlevoix public school systems right now. We're going through budget cuts. A lot of people are going through that with COVID-19, the impact that's had. So we are working with, you have to work with politics and education with those. They work hand in hand. They work together. It's all about voting. It's all about the economy. So that's our political structure. There's not a whole lot of social tensions in our community. We're primarily white. We don't have any gang activity or no discrimination reported. We did have an issue of people not protesting, but disagreeing with a transgender bathroom being added into our middle high school, and that was discussed at our Board of Education meetings. We did have a peaceful Black Lives Matter protest last weekend, and there are some tension between tourists or fudgies and our locals. A lot of the locals don't realize how much money the fudgies bring in for our town, and they don't want them invading. The main sources of our information for our town: the Chamber of Commerce, our SHRM and school websites, our Facebook pages, Board of Education minutes, and we also participate in community questionnaires. Here's some of our power structures. We've got our city officials, law enforcement, our school district administrators, and the business owners play a big part in our town as well. They have a large voice. Within our schools, we also have the MEA, our union, the Board of Education. We gather feedback from community members. We have parent nights and conferences, and we do have those community surveys that we offer for. We really don't have many multicultural issues in our community, mostly because we are primarily a white community with not a lot of diversity. We're very fortunate to have some American Indian collaborations within our school system. The Native American program comes in, mentors students who are Native American and educates them more on their culture, which is awesome. We do have dress codes within our school guidelines. Pretty basic dress codes though, length of shorts, sleeves, things like that. We do give the message of acceptance and diversity in our schools, and we accommodate for language barriers with those who need it. We also educate students on different cultures and ethnicities that they don't see in Charlevoix because of the lack of exposure that they see just living here. So we make it a point to educate them and let them know about some cultures that they might not cross paths with every day. We like to get our community members involved and they want to be involved in the schools, especially that group of residents that are older and have been here for a long time. They love to see what's going on in our schools. So they also support our schools and they support our fundraisers and they support our students and sponsor our athletics, the business owners in Charlevoix. So we like them to be involved in communicating with them as much as possible. The bond that passed is not increasing the 2020 bond that just passed is not increasing our local taxes. It's just increasing a small percentage of a tax for families with 2 residents in the community of Charlevoix. And we also collaborate with our newspaper for weekly school highlights, which is a great opportunity to get school business out in the community. We offer these public opinion surveys. We just did one on like feedback on remote learning and to parents and families and what they thought went well, what they could have used, what resources, what are they thinking about for next year as well. We also just distributed a COVID-19 community survey before our stay-at-home order was lifted. We they distributed the survey online to see how comfortable people would be with using public services and public parks and public property. We offer an open door policy at our board meetings. Anybody is welcome as long as they are respectful and the public may speak at an appropriate time and give their feedback and their questions and concerns. We have a ton of volunteer opportunities within our schools for people to come in and volunteer, whether it's events or athletics or special projects. And we like to encourage the community involvement as much as possible.